Hi everyone, Mrs. Brunel here for week 4 of math distance learning. This week we're going to be learning about two concepts, one new with line plots, and then we will also be reviewing counting coins. So let's get started with line plots. Line plots help us organize or sort our data by showing us how frequently something occurs. And we've seen line plots before in our classroom, but here's an example of one line plot that someone could create. This one tells us the color of Skittles in one bag. So here you can see they noted that they only had one red Skittle using the X's, and each X tells us for one Skittle. And we use that to help us keep track of data like we have here. Another example might be the number of minutes playing outside. So they've tracked the number of minutes and they've used in groups of 5 here below. So maybe one day it was really cold out and they weren't able to play outside. So on the next day it warmed up a little bit, and so they were able to play outside for 5 minutes, and they were able to do that for 3 days in a row. And I can learn that information from the line plot. So in the last video, you learned all about how we use line plots, and we are going to create our own line plot today. And I thought I'd give you some ideas for yours. You can ask friends a question, ask them what their favorite pizza topping is, and create a line plot. Or you could ask them what their favorite TV show is. You can ask the shoe size of people in your home, or maybe look through the shoe closet and see how many are a size 9 or 9.5. You can also measure different objects in your home using a ruler, using tape measure, using a string, whatever you need. You can measure different objects and plot them on a line plot. You can also look at different books and choose a sentence and count how many syllables are in each sentence and plot that with a line plot. You can also create a line plot with counting coins, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make a line plot by counting coins. To review, when we count coins, we can use our touch points just like we did if we were on the snack cart or counting money from the drawer. We would count by having the penny, and the penny is worth 1 cent. A nickel, and remember the nickel is sometimes confusing with the quarter, so I check the side and see that it has a smooth edge, and I have a nickel that's worth 5 cents. And the dime is this really tiny coin. It's got a rough edge as well. That's worth 10 cents. And then I also have here a quarter with those rough edges. This one's worth 25 cents. So I found some change in my house, and I'm going to create a line plot using the change I have here. And then I'm going to figure out how much money I have. I'm going to remember to count the quarters first, counted by 25, 50, 75, $1. Good job if you're counting with me. Then I'm going to count the nickels and dimes, counting by 5s, and I'll show you how to do that on the next page. And then I'll count the pennies. So let's get started. So for my line plot, I'm going to need a fresh sheet of paper, and I'm going to start by drawing. Well, first I need to title my line plot to tell my reader and audience what I'm measuring. So I'm going to call mine How Much Money Mrs. Brunel has. I put an exclamation point. I thought it'd be fun. So then under the title, I'm going to leave some space so I could plot out. So I might go to the very bottom of my paper and draw a straight line from the left to the right. And I'm also going to include arrows to show that this line could go on forever. Down below, I need to put the categories that I'm using. So in our in one example, we saw that they were counting by fives, the number of minutes. In the first example, they had categories of color. So it depends on what you're measuring. Since I'm measuring coins, I'm going to start by saying 1 for the penny, because I know that a penny is equal to 1/100th of a dollar. I am going to go with the nickel next, and a nickel's worth 5 cents. And I'm going to say it's 5 out of 100. Then I'm going to go with the dime, and a dime is worth 10 cents. And I'm going to put 10 over 100 because I know that 10 dimes equal 100. And then I'll have my quarter. And that's 25 out of 100, or 1/4 of a dollar. Because remember, 100 would equal that big dollar like we used to have when we played the bank exchange game, if you remember that. Okay, so since I'm using coins, I'm going to sort them by putting pennies with pennies. I have 1 dime here, so I'm going to sort that with the dimes. And I'm sorting each one. And I'm going to quickly sort so that you could see how I sort the coins. And then, if this was my line plot, then I would need to put an X for each one. So I can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pennies. So on my line plot, I need to have 1, 2, 3, 4 X's to show that I have 4 pennies. Then I'm going to mark how many nickels. I have 1, 2 nickels. So I'm going to use the X for that. And I'm putting them back for now so we can count after. And then I have 2 dimes. So I'm going to put 2 X's in the dime category. And then I have to mark how many quarters I have. Last but not least, I have 2 quarters. Remember, if you need to pause this video, you can pause it at any time, and you can also rewind it. Now it's time for me to use my touch points to help us count and see how much money does Mrs. Brunel have. So I'm going to start with the quarters first. And remember, when we count the quarters, we count by 25s. So we start by saying 25, 50. And I'm going to write it down so I can help us keep track in our video, but you would not need to do that. So far I have 50 cents. And then after I count the quarters, now I'm going to count my nickels and dimes. So do you see how I'm counting backwards after I organized all my coins? And I'm going to count by fives. And remember, the dime gets a double tap. Count by fives, dime gets a double tap. So I'll show you with my pen. Starting from where we left off at 50. Dimes with a double tap. So 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. Now we're at 70 cents. Oh my goodness, I hope I have $1 so I could make a big trade. And now I'm counting the nickels, and a nickel gets 1 tap. So I went 25, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. Nice work counting with me. Now we just have the pennies left, and we count the pennies by 1. So we went 25, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. So I can see that all together I have 84 cents. Man, not enough for $1, but that's okay. When I take the coins out and I look at my line plot, I can see I have a lot of pennies, and I also have the same amount of nickels, dimes, and quarters. Well, I'm hoping that maybe I could trade some of these pennies in so that I could have more nickels, dimes, and quarters. And what I really want is that big green dollar. So remember that when we are making a line plot, we are organizing our data. And that when we are counting coins, we can use our touch points to help us count these big groups of coins. So I still have a ton of change left to count. So I'm going to go off and count these. I am excited to see what you come up with to create your own line plot. You can always rewind the video if you need more ideas, but I'm excited to see what you come up with.